Here at Michigan Family Wellness, we believe chiropractic care and nutritional-based therapies are a foundational part of a healthy family lifestyle. No matter where you're at in the mitten, having a family is such an exciting time of life. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by stress, fatigue, and responsibilities with the kids, we invite you to become part of this empowering community to create happy, healthy families. By providing engaging interviews and practical applications, Dr. Wallner cultivates family health by equipping our listeners with the tools they need to elevate wellness in their own family. Dr. Wallner passionately serves the Michigan community at his chiropractic and nutrition-based practice, where he specializes in pregnancy, pediatrics, and family wellness care. And now, here's your host, Dr. Kyle Wallner.
Good day, families, and welcome home. That's right, my name is Dr. Kyle, and this is the Empowering MFW family, and we are so glad to be with you today. If you are joining us for the first time, I want to thank you for tuning in. The health of you and your family is your number one priority. It is your greatest asset. The best way to have a healthy family is by living a family wellness lifestyle. So, if you're looking for efficient, effective, and sustainable ways to elevate your health and the health of your family, then I strongly recommend you make yourself comfortable because we have an amazing show for you today. And before we get to today's episode, let me say a few words as I do every week about Power Performance Gym. Power Performance Gym is dedicated to helping you achieve your best definition of healthy and strong. Power Performance specializes in strength and conditioning for individuals, small groups, and athletic teams, weight and pain management, as well as recovery and nutrition. Everyone at Power experiences a full movement and health analysis to build your blueprint for success targeting your goals. Mention the Michigan Family Wellness Podcast to receive your movement and health analysis as a complimentary gift. Learn more about how Power Performance can help you move, look, and feel better by visiting powergym.com. That's POWRGYM.com. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Cousino is certified in sports medicine and has been practicing at the Dynamic Health Clinic in Ann Arbor, Michigan for 16 years. Dr. Cousino specializes in chronic digestive and adrenal disorders. His focus emphasizes and seeks to amplify the power of connecting the essences of life through an individual's mind, body, and spirit. All right, families, let's jump into today's interview. All right, welcome, families, to today's interview. Whether you are joining us live today, or if you're on the replay, or if you're listening on the podcast, I want to thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast and making the commitment to elevate your health. Families, I'm honored to be joined today with Dr. Dennis Cousino. Welcome, Doc. Thanks for being here. It's so great to have you.
Thank you. It's a welcome to be here.
Amazing. So in order to take full advantage of our technology here, today's format is going to be as follows. First of all, everyone, we're going to do an interview component with Dr. C. We're going to learn all about Dr. C and his incredible naturopathic practice in Ann Arbor. Secondly, for our time today is going to be dedicated to your questions from our live audience. So if you have a relevant question that you'd like to chime in with, go ahead, post that in the comments section, and we will try to get to those at the end of our interview here today. Also, if you're joining with us, just give us a hello, say hi, where you're from, and we'd love to hear that feedback from you as well. So, well, Doc, I am excited to jump into our discussion today on how you help women and mothers elevate their health and family wellness lifestyle, especially as it relates to your practice and fixing chronic illness, disease, and conditions that modern medicine really just doesn't have a solution for. But before we get there, we have two questions that we always ask. So help our listeners and myself get to know you more by telling us what family looks like for you.
Well, what family looks like for me is ultimately unity, harmony, and just enjoying life at its abundance. Just looking forward to reaping the benefits of, what we invest in. And family, not just from the standpoint of just like in a home, but in a community, that we're people that may have different interests and different values at some level, but there's this culture of honor, I would say, that's developing and seeking principles and truth. And I find that to be true from the standpoint of health, too, that even working with other practitioners, that if we can have that at the core, then it seems like it just expands itself. And seeing family, just the dynamics of that, I work pretty close to counselors, too, and seeing the fact that families do need to find stability within their home in order to regulate and control even how their bodies are working, just the stress that plays havoc within their bodies. So.
Absolutely, Doc. I could not agree more. This makes me just want to jump into our conversation, jump into our meat and potatoes right away. But again, I really appreciate those comments on community, on family. That's a common theme here on the podcast, just the people you abide with, and oftentimes that can be people who aren't necessarily, your blood relation family. So fantastic, right. Doc. Another thing we love to say here on the podcast is that we are smitten with the mitten. So can you share with us something you love about the mitten?
I definitely consider myself a true Michiganer. I mean, I was born and raised here. My family comes from northern environments, and I do like winter, but I like winter from the standpoint of a season. I appreciate the 4 seasons of Michigan. They seem to do very well in their seasons. And I also like the fact that Michigan has immense resources. There's so much available in Michigan that a lot of people that are even citizens in Michigan don't realize how much great ground we have for organic farmers, and just the history here with not just the Great Lakes, but just a lot of different uniquenesses within just our rivers and with our communities and just the native heritage. And so I do love that. And we do take 1 or 2 trips a year in the Michigan area just so my kids can experience different things, and it becomes a good lesson for them for school.
Absolutely. And I hope you're able to speak a little bit more on the organic farming efforts that you're doing, because I just think that's amazing. But all right, Doc, let's go ahead and get more in depth, because I always want the women, the mothers and families listening to get value from these conversations, from these talks that we do, and for people to benefit from your experiences, your expertise, and your unique perspective. I find what makes these conversations so relevant oftentimes, Doc, and powerful is by just sharing our stories. So Dr. C, I know you have quite the personal story that sparked your interest into this healing work that you do today. Can you go ahead and share with us a little bit about that time and the things that you did to heal your body?
Well, interesting on this conversation today that this month will be my 10th anniversary of a healing in my body. April 30th is when I had the full restoration and eradication of a tormenting condition that I would put more in the category of a syndrome rather than a disease. So it started off a while back that, I was training for a triathlon, and I thought I pulled a muscle, and I was waking up in the middle of the night with pain in my upper right back and upper right front hepatic area in the liver area. And I thought that it was just a pulled muscle. And then the next night went on, and the pain became so progressive and aggressive to the point where it allowed me to have to make a visit to the emergency room. At that point, they did all the tests, and they wanted to say I'm probably having a gallbladder attack. It wasn't a gallbladder attack. It seemed like a gallbladder attack. But as time went on, this chronic pattern got so bad that it started consuming other areas of my body with the pain. And then I started to developing severe immune deficiency, chronic fatigue, systemic pain, and just all the kind of syndromes you would look at with many diseases. I ventured into many different medical practices looking for answers and found no answers, no resolve there. And then it allowed me to venture out into the holistic arena. I visited 39 doctors over 7 years, visited 12 different states in the country, seeing what I thought was the best of the best. Now, I did see great doctors with great techniques, but it taught me a lot through that journey what some of the problems was for me to not experience a healing or a resolve to this condition. Now, through this journey, there was a lot that was said in the blood, but then some of those things left the blood. My immune system kept on declining. So that led into me having several different conditions, everything from immune deficiency to Crohn's disease to potential cancers to all kinds of rare conditions. So through that 7 years, I was in scare, I was in torment, and I was pursuing the health field from a sport medicine standpoint. Then I was going to venture into the medical field, but I came very disappointed in what I thought was going to be provided to me medically. So then I went into naturopathic college. And so I learned a lot through that journey, and I sampled and probably experienced about every healing technique that you can see out there. And I still have respect to a lot of these healing techniques, but it taught me a lot about healing is not looking for a magic bullet. It's strategy. It's strategy. And the end of this process, because it is a long story, but the end of this process of me dealing with this chronic pain, it turned into pretty much a miracle.
Incredible. Well, Dr. C, congratulations again for it being, you said the 10-year anniversary. That's just remarkable. So thank you so much for sharing that. And you know what? The reason I asked you to share that, and thank you for being vulnerable as well, because so many people out there have, a similar story like that, where they're chronically ill, they know something's not right. They've gone to doctor, even from the modern medical model and even through the alternative things, and they're just looking for something that works. And to your credit as well, I just want to acknowledge you again, saying not only do you have patients that are seeking you, across state lines, to figure out how to fix themselves, but you also have doctors coming to you across state lines and internationally who are saying, help us because we have patients who we're struggling with, but we're seeing the results that, you're able to get with this naturopathic medicine. So again, I just want to acknowledge and commend you for, everything that you're doing over there at your practice, especially in Ann Arbor. Can we jump into a discussion of what is the focus of your practice? What are most people writing down, when they come to see you in terms of like their chief complaint or why they're there to receive naturopathic care?
Well, interesting. It's common. And so a lot of people present a lot of similar symptoms, as you know. A lot of people will come in and they will have chronic fatigue. They'll have sleep disturbances. They'll have weight gain. They'll have just the overall feeling of just not feeling vibrant. And a lot of times people just don't even know exactly what it is, except the fact that when they do seek medical professionals and they get blood tests, they can feel very ill and sick. And lots of times blood tests will come back and show normal. And so I find that it's the common conditions that come in. But interesting enough, a lot of those conditions, even though they seem the same, there's a lot of different causes. So I would say I see a lot of adrenal thyroid problems, a lot of digestive issues, not just from the standpoint of just the stomach and small intestine, large intestine, but also from a lot of liver and gallbladder issues. See a lot of high blood pressure, a lot of diabetic problems, just kind of a lot of the syndromes that are out there. And so when people come and they present that to me, it's my job to tailor that and then find the uniqueness within their own situation to help them to see exactly what it is that we need to start off to do and where we're going.
Absolutely. And then can you kind of launch into a discussion, let's say someone does come in with, and again, being very general here, but let's say we identify it or you identify it as a thyroid problem or an adrenal problem or a gut issue. Can you talk to us more and kind of articulate the nuances of what it means to be a naturopathic doctor? What is homeopathy? And I don't want to be too vague and too general here, but you do a lot of testing, you do a lot of the bioenergetic testing. So give our listeners some context in terms of what they actually can experience when they visit yourself at your clinic.
Sure. So one way I'll express that is like a lot of people are familiar if they go to a general practitioner, a medical doctor. A person may have a diversity of skill and knowledge, but at the same time, they may not specialize in one thing. As a naturopath, I look at what I do is I do naturopathy on a large level, but I do have specialty too. So naturopathy, by definition, it's a primary healthcare profession that has distinct application, emphasizes on prevention and optimizing in health by using natural methods and natural substances to overcome illness. It's a full resolve technique, and it dates back to 1890s. But the idea of naturopathy is to look at the whole person. It's got principles with it. There's a lot of modalities that lie with underneath the title of naturopathy that people can even see with homeopathy, herbology. There's exercise physiology. I mean, a lot of these professions now have become their own unique profession. But naturopaths in general should be able to operate on a large scale with their training so that they can meet the full application of the person's condition. And so I like to keep that in my practice. I like to be able to exercise many tools in my tool bag and not just have one or two. And at the same time, I do have specialized tools in that tool bag too, such as with my testing to troubleshoot.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just to kind of dive in a little further so listeners can really get a grasp on this. And, again, we could probably be here all day talking about this because you and I can both, just go on and on and on. But give us some context into, are the medicines that you're using, or to use another term, like the remedies that you're using, are these things that people can go to Walmart and GNC and their Better Health store and, find on the shelf? Tell us more about that.
I would respectfully say and carefully say, probably not. I do believe there's different hierarchies within natural medicines. I do believe that there is things out there that people can look into, but they would have to understand that substance a little bit better from the standpoint, is this thing going to be the right thing for what I got going on? And is it going to have the right potency and the concentrations to it? And there is a marketplace for natural substances out there, but I would look at the substances that I carry in my practice. They're practitioner qualified. They're not substances that are weak and low level. They're proven to get results with. And so, I mean, does
Absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much. And then to further even kind of go one step backwards with that, it's not like you're just kind of grasping, for answers, if you will, in terms of what to recommend a specific person. Bio-individuality, people are so different. And if you want to take someone, if they're really that chronically ill, you have to be very, very specific. So all of this to, launch into a discussion of testing. Can you explain a little bit about the testing that you do to figure out what specific people need to be taking?
Well, let me comment real quick on the one question you had on homeopathy, because I didn't get to describe that. I'll just be brief about it. Homeopathy is in the bioenergetic medicine. It is a type of medicine that is used to elicit responses in a person's body. And I know that I have a lot of clients that hear about homeopathy, but they don't really understand it because they're seeing it out there now in certain places. And I even heard that GNC now is starting to carry some of it. And so I ventured in there not too long ago to look at it and wasn't impressed. But nonetheless, homeopathy was found back in, right around about 1743 to right around about 1855. Samuel Hahnemann, a German physician, a medical doctor, ventured into the revealing of the energetic medicine and found that like cures like. And that's what people need to take, is that a symptom that can be produced by a substance can be the same substance that can reverse or cure the problem. Like an onion, if you get exposed to onion and the gases come up into your face, you're going to have runny eyes and a runny nose. Now, if you get exposed to hay fever and you're starting to have those symptoms, homeopathically, you could give the remedy onion and it could reverse that. And the same thing you could see with even poison ivy. Poison ivy would cause what? Itching, redness, intense itching, stinging, and can cause all kinds of skin problems and blistering. Well, it's interesting. If a person was to have those same symptoms by some other means, you could give the poison ivy rust tox and it could reverse that. And so I find it quite interesting that over the decades, people have been trying to disprove homeopathy and its results, and they keep proving that it works.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I practice a lot of homeopathy within my clinic. So the testing in my office is it's got an electronic device. It's a sophisticated ohm meter, and EAV stands for electrical acupuncture, according to Dr. Voll. And right around 1953, another German physician ventured in and finding that the electrical system or the energetic system of the body could reveal energetic disturbances within our organ systems. And so he found that there was acupuncture points, according to Chinese medicine, dates back to 1600s, where they found over 2,000, up to date, 2,000 acupuncture points that have the ability to have electrical conductance to it. So today, the advancements within EAV are incredible because we can actually use that testing to mirror the physiological systems of the body, to find stressors, inflammation within organs. We can find where there's degeneration. We can find where there's balances. And so what I tell my clients a lot is the issues are in the tissues, and the tissues are not in equal proportion to the blood. That when you get a blood test, it can look completely normal, but the issues are in the tissues. And what EAV allows us to do And also, muscle testing allows us to do is to reveal the underlying disturbances that cannot be revealed through medical models. I think that's fabulous.
Outstanding, Doc. I could not agree more. Everything you're saying with the testing, the issues are in the tissues, that's definitely something that I resonate with, as a chiropractor. You mentioned the electrical conductivity of a lot of these acupuncture points and acupressure points. And, that just brings me to a thought of mechanical transduction, how a physical stimulus, with the chiropractic adjustment, and I'll even emphasize the artful chiropractic adjustment, can be translated from a mechanical physical impulse into an electrical signal that is just a really powerful signal for healing in the body, which brings us to our next discussion here, Doc. I had the privilege of adjusting your spine at a conference in Santa Barbara. I actually did quite a unique adjustment on yourself because
I remember that.
When I tested you, that's the adjustment that you needed at that time. So
exactly.
Hang with me here for a second. I got a two-part question for you. With regards to your patients, what percentage of your patients are following your nutritional medicine programs and receiving artful chiropractic care? So part one. The second part, Doc, is do you find that those patients respond better or any differently compared to those who are following your programs and who are not receiving artful chiropractic care?
Absolutely. I'm a huge advocate of chiropractic care. Even through my healing dilemma some years ago, that was an avenue I was going to take. And I probably would have taken that avenue once I visited Davenport, Iowa, to Palmer University. At that time, it just wasn't feasible. We had a small child and I was sick, and it was best for me just to find local training where I was at. But I have found absolutely when I test my clients that when they are getting regular chiropractic care, the testing is more clear. I see underlying disturbance a lot easier, and their body's not underneath this fight-flight mechanism as much because their body's being regulated neurologically, so that it helps to open up the body's energetic system and the suppressive nature of the body to protect the body for survival. It helps the body to open it up because it's innately in the body to want to heal itself. And so when the body's underneath so much stress, not only is it going to create subluxations, but it's going to cause that neurological system to cause the organs to be locked up. And when I'm testing, I see that very clearly. Now, I do find that when people keep hydrated, also with the chiropractic adjustments, it even takes it to another level. The percentage of people, increasing the information and bringing the importance to my clients that they do receive chiropractic care, why they're getting tested, because their healing journey will be a lot more accelerated and they'll see a lot more results sooner than later, just because the body goes through an F-flow pathway. So when they're in here, they could do good. They get back out there in their routine of life. They get stressed out again, and the body goes into a lower percentage of healing success. Now, it doesn't be black or white, but it just becomes more optimal when they integrate chiropractic care with that.
And you bring up a great point there, Doc. This is really all about helping people heal their tissues, get better faster, and really develop the resiliency and the restoration that so many people out there are seeking. I just want to go back and stress that artful chiropractic care as opposed to just like a regular chiropractic adjustment or what have you, because as you know, Dr. C, you need to fully trust the person who is adjusting your spine. The artful chiropractic adjustment is one of the most powerful signals for healing, like I was saying earlier. But just like anything else, it can be applied at the wrong level, at the wrong time, with the wrong inappropriate sequence, that whole right remedy, right time, right level, right sequence thing. I love to tell my patients that because it's true, and it applies for chiropractic, it applies to naturopathic and homeopathy, just across the board. So I cannot underscore that enough. Well, Dr. C, let's say there's a woman listening today who is just stressed out of her mind. Maybe she has a few kids and she's juggling the work-family balance, or perhaps she is thinking about starting a family, but she doesn't want to rely on over-the-counter drugs, pharmaceutical medications, and the standard medical model of cut, burn, or poison, just so that she can spend more quality time with her family, be more productive at work, have more energy, lose weight, sleep better, all these good things, and cultivate health for years to come. What would you say to her?
Well, first, I find it's very important to inspire hope within your clients.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a momentum that once they find, because they don't know what we know, and it's just like I've heard in the past that emotion does not comprehend logic. That when a person wants something and they've got stress in their life, they're looking to hang on to something to give them hope, and so they have something to be excited about of what they need to do to get better in their health and life. And I find that when I inspire people by giving them power, it gives them freedom. And so what I would say to somebody in that situation is I would bring them to a place of giving them an insight of the healing journey and helping them to participate within what they need to do to make that a reality in their life. And so because there's a lot of things that people can do. A lot of people know the fact that they need to floss their teeth, and they go to the dentist reminds them, but they'll go back and they'll get back into a lifestyle of not flossing their teeth, even though they know better. And a lot of people know that about their lifestyle with diet and exercise, stress management. And so I find that in the beginning, I really need to inspire a person to where they need to go and give them true meaning of hope, which is a joyful anticipation of good things to come.
Absolutely.
So when I get into the foundation of dealing with a situation like that, it comes down to opening up the communication pathways of the body. So just like you were mentioning about causal chain, helping the person to understand this is where we're at right now and this is what we need to do. We're not going to build Rome in a day. We're going to start off and getting the drainage pathways of your body open, and we're going to regulate, and I say again, regulate stress, regulate inflammation, regulate digestive issues. And it's not going to be like the ultimate fix right away, but it can make people feel a lot better to the point where they need to go to the next step. But if we do that, then they'll be on board. And so just when it comes to sleep, adrenal is always going to be a big topic, isn't it? And even when it comes to digestion, adrenal is going to be a big topic, because when our body's in a stressful state, it doesn't care about reproduction. It doesn't care about digestion. It doesn't care about how smart you are. It cares about survival. And that's the times people in our society are stuck in this situation where their cortisol is spiking through the roof, and then the time clock gets confused and they go to sleep and they're wired but tired. They start waking up around 2 o'clock in the morning and they don't even know why they're awake, because the body is saying they're stressed and it starts releasing cortisol. Well, with a lot of women that come to me that even want to have a family and they find out they're having difficulty getting pregnant, that's a cortisol issue. And when it comes down to just their body feeling a sense of just peace in the environment, that's a hypervigilancy issue. They've been stressed for so long, now their neurological systems get involved, and that's where they develop the wired but tired. Everything seems to be threatening. And so once I identify that this is a common situation, such as if a lady was to have this issue and she wants to have a family and she wants to have balance in her life, we would start regulating her system, building a foundation, starting to get rid of a couple bad things and replace it with some good things in her life, and helping to instruct some stress management. And through my testing, I would actually help the client to realize that this is exactly what we have going on. And they would see that, and then they would partner with that a lot better. Now, the success of that would be great when the person's complying with these lifestyle changes. Because diet in itself isn't going to ultimately fix everything. Person just sitting down for 15, 20 minutes and learning to breathe and meditate up on good things isn't going to fix everything. A person that is just going to get a little bit extra better sleep isn't going to fix everything. It has to be a multifaceted response, because I found that through my healing journey, that I did a lot of things and I emphasized a lot in the little things and a lot in big things, but I didn't really put it together in a causal chain way. So it is very true what you're saying, that just like if, I just had a chiropractic adjustment about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I'm like, I got to just travel a little bit further and go see Dr. Kyle.
There you go.
Because there's a guy in my hometown. He's a really good guy, but he was very adamant to work out of a cookie cutter model. And he was trying to force in an area, a T10 area on my vertebra. And sure enough, it ended up causing stress within my lumbar area that I started experiencing a little bit of sciatica from that adjustment. Yeah. And I would remember back to what we were talking about before this conversation about just having a 5-star chiropractic adjustment versus a drive-through chiropractic adjustment.
Yes.
And that really rang with me. And to this day, that's exactly how I operate. I operate from the standpoint of strategy and principles and finding individuality within a person's condition. I can have 10 people in front of me that have the same problem, And I have to look at each one of those individuals, and I have to custom tailor their own healing response. Now, there is commonality with everybody, but there's also individuality, and we have to educate our clients and what's unique about them so that they understand that this is really my blockage. This is where it's at, and help them to put it together.
Absolutely, Dr. C. I want to encourage everyone to really use their 30-second rewind button. I want them to go back over the last couple minutes and re-listen to everything Dr. C just laid down there, because there was a ton of value, and I wish we had more time to really dive in. We might have to ask you back on the show, Dr. C, for just an extended period of question and answers here. But what I really want people to know is, Dr. C, are there any resources where people can go and learn more about homeopathy, naturopathy, and also where can people find out more about yourself?
Well, there's entry levels of learning about a lot of different natural healing techniques. And for people who are not familiar or don't have any introductory level of that, I would say start off with just like basic information, like just, certain websites that just really look at the basics of it. And there's the DK books out there that actually give the simplicity of it. Getting deeper in it, there's some good authors that have started off from an elementary level and they go deeper into the subjects, like the science of homeopathy. And there's a lot of good books out there that speak about the general problems of society, about, adrenal stress and thyroid problems. And I like the cortisol connection. That's one of my books that I like to reference because it gives a lot of good examples, what it looks like within people's life, like stress Jess or nervous Nelly, and it looks at the wired but tired syndromes, what people deal with. And from the standpoint of the deeper, the energetic science and looking at that, there's a great book out there called The Field by Lynne Mctaggart. She was a medical journalist that took the interest to go through and interview great scientists, people who've done great university research and science based upon that. So it helps people to see wow, this has been researched out and this is proven. This isn't some weird quackery stuff. This stuff's been proven. And it helps people to kind of endorse that and put it into their own life so that they can seek out and search for people that are practicing and have been properly trained.
Fantastic, Dr. C. I want to remind all of our listeners today and everyone joining us on the live that we are actually going to have all of those resources linked to the show notes page at MichiganFamilyWellness.com for Dr. C here. And I just want to remind everyone, we'll actually put links in the comments here as well, if they can subscribe on their iPhone, on their Android. And again, if you have any questions, for Dr. Cousino or myself, just send us a message and we will get back to you. Doc, this has been amazing. You have completely brought tremendous value today. I want to thank you for becoming part of the MFW family.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, families, what'd you think? We'd love to get your feedback. If you would like to email me about anything you've heard on this or any previous edition of the Family Wellness Lifestyle Podcast, you may do so by writing Dr. Kyle at MichiganFamilyWellness.com and take full advantage of the Family Lifestyle audio library at MichiganFamilyWellness.com. Connect with us on social media at Michigan Family Wellness. Thanks so much for tuning in, families. Have an awesome week, and remember, we can do far more together than we could ever do apart.
Now that you've been equipped with the latest in family wellness solutions, we want to encourage you to apply these strategies right away. But the thing is, there's still so much to learn. Connect with Dr. Wallner's Chiropractic and Nutrition Office by going to MichiganFamilyWellness.com and click the newsletter sign-up button to join the informative and supportive community of chiropractic wellness. You will also receive as a gift from Dr. Wallner a copy of Michigan Family Wellness Solutions, an invaluable resource containing dynamic tools to elevate family health and vitality. Michigan Family Wellness wants to thank you for being part of today's podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and review.